Hello, beautiful leverage sisters. Hello, hello. What's up, ladies? Welcome to the September training call. I'm so excited to be here with you. Congratulations on being here. Back to school. Hi, Audrey. Hi, Junie Moon. Hi, Kia. Hi, Elizabeth. Hi, Lana. Hi, Angela. Hi, Erin. Hi, Nina. Hi, Obsidian. Hi, Megan. Yay, we're doing it. I missed you guys last month. Don't you love that we get to love what we do and we actually miss it when we go away? We got our fabulous couple on the line together forever. Yay. Hi, Tracy. Hi, Leah. Hi, Jennifer. Hi, Jolynn. Hi, Kate, Duffy. Hi, Gerda. Unmute yourselves and say hi, you guys. Welcome to the call. Happy September.
Hi, everyone.
Hi, everyone.
Hey, everyone.
Good to see everybody.
Thank you all.
Good to see you.
Hi, Dawn. Hi, Sarah Coolidge. Hi, everyone that's popping on. Hi, Marcella McBride. Oh my gosh, Marcella, did you do your event? How'd it go? I'm dying to know. Today is all about events.
I did my event. It rocked the house, and I think it might have rocked the house too much because women are like, whoa, man, how do I integrate my new life? And can I really do this? And can I go to the next level? Yeah, I'm having conversations right now with women for the program. So
that is what it's all about.
Yeah.
You guys, you know, Megan will tell you, you do the event and then you follow up from the event, which are, those are two different events.
Yeah, totally.
So we're going to get into all that. What would be the hottest tip you have, Marcella, for someone here on the line who's got an event coming up in the next 6 months and they might be feeling a little nervous right now?
Yeah, so like seed for breakfast, like seed in every video you do, seed your program, seed your event, seed how amazing your work is, seed testimonials, tons of that. So once the point of actually making the offer comes, they're like, yeah, I already know.
I know, totally, right? That we realize that these events, the entire event is the offer. The entire event is an offering. When you're up there talking about what you do and talking about your programs and talking about the results that your clients have, then it takes a lot of the pressure off of the offer. So we're going to get into all of that today. We're going to kind of give you the formula for how to put your content together for 3-day events, how to fill 3-day events. We're so excited for this topic. You asked, we answered. Many of you said, this is what I need to learn now. So we rearranged the flow of the content for this year so that we could get this training in right away for you guys. And for those of you that are eager to hear about how to hire your team and any of the other launch topics that you're wanting more of, that's all in the library. All right, it's all waiting for you in the library. On-demand trainings in the library. So if you have not made friends with the library yet, definitely go make friends with the library. It is there. We have spent several years building that thing up, that resource center up for you. Let's give each other a big wahoo and make a little noise and just welcome each other to the call. Happy September. Congratulations for being here, working on your business. Yay, we are so excited to be here with every single one of you. Megan and I are going to dive into a bunch of content today. But first I want to say, Megan, thank you for making the time to be here because Megan's like the left hand to my right at the events these days. We're getting ready for our big event in San Diego starting on Sunday. And Megan's going to be on stage like almost half the time. Like seriously, like I've just decided I'm not leading these events alone anymore. And Megan also does a lot of the follow-up for these events. And I've gotten a chance to step away from that a little bit. So I didn't want to lead this call without her because she actually is she's going to have her finger on the pulse of some of the things that you guys need to know in a way that I might not even be as present to. So thank you, Megan.
Thank you, Sage. I'm so excited to see many of you at our event, Women Rocking Business Live, and also to support you today with your events. I know, like Sage was saying, we've been flooded with questions. And just since she posted yesterday, I was reading your questions even on that post, and I can see this is a super hot topic. So we've got a lot of those answers for what you're asking about already built into what we knew we were going to talk about today, and we'll make sure to also get to some of those other ones too.
Yay, awesome, awesome. So a few quick announcements. Number one, a friendly reminder that because we are in San Diego next week leading our event, the Q&A call is the following week. The Q&A call is September 17th. And we've moved the masterminding call to September 19th that week. So you'll have lots of support the third week of September. And we're going to recommend that next week, you guys take some bonus time to check in with your buddies and get more present with your buddies or one of the people in your board of directors. Raise your hand if you had some elements of summer happening over the last 2 or 3 months. And maybe you haven't been quite as in touch with people from this program as you would have liked to be. All right, awesome. So next week is a perfect opportunity to make a date. In fact, I'd recommend right now, even while you're present and not forgetting, shoot somebody a text and say, let's make a date next week. Let's check in. Let's go over our offer together. Let's go over our content for our event together. Let's make use of the fact that we have a week of integration this month. Now, I also want to let you know that the Hawaii Business Retreat is coming right up. We're going to make an announcement at the end of the call. Sylvia is doing some research on rooms because I know some of you guys have been calling the Mauna Kea to book a room, and there's no rooms available for you at our room block rate because a bunch of you already booked. So the good thing about being at the Mauna Kea in Hawaii is there's something, I don't know who here has been there. It's luxurious, right? Like raise your hand if you've been there and you're like, yeah, it's freaking luxurious. And it's kind of nice to not have to drive away. Like it's kind of nice to be able to like stumble out of your room and go down on the beach at like 7 in the morning and be with whatever wildlife is down there. And it is possible for this retreat to stay off site, but Sylvia is just confirming how many more rooms we can get for you guys. We should be able to get enough rooms for all of you guys to stay on site if you want to stay on site. We recommend you guys pile in the rooms because it's a little more expensive than some other hotels. I don't know, do you guys remember how much it is? Like $350 a night, or do you guys remember? Don't even quote me. More, maybe 400? Yeah, so like put 3 or 4 people in a room. I mean, you're spending most of your time outside anyway. It's Hawaii. Like we want to spend all our time on the beach anyway. So now's the time to grab roommates for the Hawaii Business Breakthrough Retreat and get your rooms booked because the Mauna Kea is this luxurious resort. There's something so luxurious about being there and it fills up. Next announcement that's super important. For those of you who are in Leverage who have never been to our Entrepreneurial Leadership Academy speaker retreat that happens in October, highly recommend you think about doubling down on your retreat budget this fall. Think about doing both the retreat in October here in the Bay Area at the 1440 so that you can really master your offer and your story from stage. Super experiential, so much value, but don't sacrifice Hawaii. Does that make sense? Because you can get that same content about your offer and your story through the virtual trainings that we do. But for those of you that might be able to carve out time for both, highly recommend it. It's going to catapult your business to potentially be at both. We offer that, we're calling it the Rock the Stage retreat at this point, and we offer that totally for free for Leverage clients. It's a totally complimentary retreat. So all you pay is room and board. And that is October 14 through 16. So write it down, October 14 through 16, consider joining us. And consider coming and staffing. That's a really good retreat to staff because some of you have already been there. And there is nothing, like I always tell my clients, you guys, like I'm just totally dropping a truth bomb right now. If you want to lead your own 1 to 3 day events, the single most effective thing you can do to prepare yourself energetically for that is to staff a really well-run event. Come and be a staff so that you see what we do behind the scenes, you see what my team does, you get your body, mind, and spirit all flexed to just be able to give yourself over to an event, right? Because our physiology does crazy things before we go in to lead a 1 to 3 day event. And you want to condition yourself for that. and staffing an event is the best way to do it. So I think we have literally, I think we're down to like 3 staffing spots for October. So if you want to staff, email Sylvia today and let her know to put you on the short list. Lastly, dun, 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 some of you guys are coming to San Diego. Who's coming to San Diego next weekend? Yay, Kate, Megan, Valerie, so excited to see you guys. I know Sophia's gonna be there. I know Rose Cole's gonna be there. I know a bunch more of you guys are gonna be there. So I'm putting together some new money training. It's brand new, hot off the presses. Can't wait to get you guys that. All right, ladies, I am reading this audiobook right now. I mean, I'm listening to it. And it is called Relentless by Tim Grover. Have you heard of this book? It is Relentless by Tim Grover. It is so balls out hardcore. I am just warning you, it's very masculine, but it's got some incredible tips in here. Okay, Tim Grover is the coach of Michael Jordan. Can you imagine the one and the only, like one of the men who kind of like, one of the main people that like really created Michael Jordan. Like he's got some very incredible insight into what it means to cultivate peak performance habits. So just a quick set of questions for you before we dive into the event content. We are back to school. It's September. Now is the time to kind of get back into your success routines. 2 of the things I'm realizing in listening to Tim's audiobook, number 1, being in the zone of your business does not have to do with thinking. It is about not thinking. It's about setting yourself up so that you cannot think. Does that make sense? Like I cleared my calendar over Labor Day weekend. Last week I went to the hot springs. Over Labor Day weekend, I planned one fun thing in the middle of the weekend. I took Shannon and her daughter and some friends to the water slides. Aaron Birch came. We all played like little girls at the water slides. But other than that, like one fun party, I freaking worked. I got completely ready. Like I could lead my event this afternoon if I needed to. My binder's ready. My handouts are ready. I've practiced my offer with Megan yesterday. I'm practicing my offer with Serena. I'm practicing my story with Serena this afternoon. Does this make sense? It's like, you know, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, I'm chillaxing. I'm flying down to San Diego. I'm going to go float in the saltwater float tank. I'm going to get ready for that, to rock that event. So I tell you this because one of the things that we do in business is we tend to overthink. Raise your hand if you know you do this. So the trick is to utilize your thinking really strategically and to always be thinking ahead, to always be planning, right? 1 to 3 to 5 weeks out, right? Where am I going? What am I doing? How do I get to the front side of my calendar so it's not dragging me around, right? Another thing that he speaks into is the mental toughness required. Raise your hand if you are already noticing the emotional resiliency that you're having to develop, right? He's so masculine. He's like, emotions make you weak. And I would add to that, emotions are, right? Like they bring tons of insight and intuition when we can clear them out and not believe everything that they tell us when the stories come from the emotions. And as women, we are emotional creatures. So we actually have to find ways 1 to 2 times a week, sometimes more if we're going through a hard time. We have to find ways to empty out our emotions. So I just have a few quick questions for you, success habits. Number 1, are you finding times in your week where you are not holding space for anybody and you are able to empty out your emotions? It's critical to clear your channel. Number 2, are you hydrating? Like seriously, you guys, when you're leading and running more adrenaline because you're building a business and you're putting yourself out there more, you need more water. Are you unplugging from electronics at least an hour before bed? Are you doing these things, right? Like honestly, right? And would you like to choose to do them knowing that these habits are actually what can make or break your career? Are you unplugging from electronics? Are you avoiding food and alcohol at least 2 hours before going to bed at night? Like I'm serious when I say a lot of those things are going to be more important than anything we teach you today. Because without a clear mind, right, and an energized body, it doesn't really matter what strategies we teach you. Cool, cool. Who has one quick share to add to getting back into success habits for September? Raise your hand if you want to recommit to any higher level of success habits. It's September, great time to recommit post summer, right? Who's been rocking your success habits all summer long? A few of you. Awesome. Okay, who wants to do a quick share around what you are recommitting to with success habits? Kia, what do you got?
So, yeah, I didn't continue my success habits over the summer. So I have recommitted over the last 10 days back to like my workout routine.
Yeah.
Because, you know, I'm active a lot over the summer, but there's no structured workout, anything.
Yes.
So I did my run and my rings this morning, and it was like, you know, so that's kind of where my recommitment has come, and it feels awesome. It's like that little kind of ball of energy that just starts building inside, gets bigger and bigger, and keeps me going. So yeah, it's awesome.
Kiss for Kia, mwah. And kiss for Marcella, who just finished her event, mwah, and shared a beautiful tip at the beginning of this call. I remind you guys of this because doing these events is rigorous, right? I couldn't lead a training on how to rock your 1 to 3 day events without reminding you of success habits, right? Because again, one of the ways to slough off the stress and the anxiety that you will feel at times when you're building these businesses, the way to slough off all that energy is exercise and breathing. Exercise literally lowers cortisol and increases oxytocin. And so it's a scientific understanding of what happens to the body when you are running adrenaline ongoingly. Is this making sense? Is this helpful? So again, especially before you guys do your 1 to 3 day live events, set yourself up for success so that you know what your schedule is going to be going into these events. You've got ample support, right? I've got Deborah Artura coming over to my house Wednesday night to just give me a big long pep talk and let me just like spring clean any of the gunk that wants to come out. Like, set yourself up for success, set up phone calls with each other. It's the mental toughness that you're creating within yourself that's going to have you be able to walk through the process of putting yourself out there in these ways, right? And utilizing all the strategies that we're going to be diving into today. And the emotional resiliency comes from you getting supported. Wouldn't you agree? It's not about toughening up and being strong all on your own. It's about getting the support so that you can have that emotional resiliency. All right. I think we should start, Megan. I think we should start by sharing about how to fill an event. Because if you guys don't fill the event, you don't really have an event. Are you picking up what I'm laying down? So we're going to start with the handout that's called Fill Event and Stick Campaign. Fill the event and stick campaign. Do you guys see that one? It should be in your forum at this point. It's also in the library, and it is in the library right here under 1 to 3 day live events, Fill Event Stick Campaign. All right, so I'm going to start by letting you know that these are exactly the things that we do to rock our events. Megan, what would you say in terms of really like getting in right relationship with how many people are in the room? Because if you guys think to yourself, I need 100 people in the room, and if I don't have 100 people in the room, it's not even worth doing it. Are you setting yourself up for success?
No. And I definitely had that mindset when I led my first event. I thought, okay, well, if Sage has 400, then I'm for sure going to get 100. in the first one, and that did not happen. It was about 30 instead. And if I had been attached to needing those 100 people to be able to have the kind of financial results I wanted or work with the kind of clients I wanted, then I wouldn't have been feeling fulfilled by what I was doing. And instead, when I got in right relationship with the people who were in front of me, I was able to make a much deeper connection with them. And that's what I'm always telling those of you that I coach in private sessions. This is what I'm always telling you is, don't focus on needing to have this huge room of people. Focus on getting the right people in the room and then having these deep conversations with them. Do more laser coaching with them. You can do things in a small room that you can't do in the big room. I knew everybody's name, for instance. I knew what their niches were. I had already researched that in advance. I'd read all their applications to the event. And then when I walked in, I was so much more prepared to make those strong connections with them and was able to enroll 70% of the room. So can you
just say that one more time? How much percent of the room did you enroll?
70%. 70% of the room. And those numbers don't happen usually, or I haven't heard of them happening in rooms of hundreds of people. So just think about when we're telling you, 20 to 30% can enroll typically in an event. That is often the case with larger numbers, especially. And when you have those intimate rooms and you know your offer, you've practiced your offer, you're really embodied, you're doing all the practices that Sage was talking about on this call, you've done your work in advance to be prepared for the event, then you can enroll more people in that intimate room. So just wanting to start off that way. Don't worry if you feel like you don't have the numbers that you want, or your events. I know for some of you, your event is 2 months away and you're just opening up your tickets, and I've gotten a few freak out messages. So wanted to address that right off the bat, that your event will be perfect if you have 20 people in the room, 30 people in the room, 40 people in the room. It's going to be amazing.
Beautiful. I completely agree. Vanessa asked the question on the Facebook page, that she wants a few more qualified people. And if she offers full scholarship tickets, are those people really going to be qualified to buy her program or not? And I want to really put in a plug for the full scholarship strategy of filling your events. So we're looking at this handout right here. I want to talk about full scholarship strategy. The full scholarship strategy is, right, that you are charging a refundable seat deposit for a ticket. Now, one of the things about this strategy is that you have to budget for the event such that you're not making a lot of money on ticket sales. If you guys need some money in the door that is associated with your event, I would rather see you sell a couple of sponsorship spots for $2,000 each or $5,000 each, and let people have a booth at your event, or let people do a little talk with a free offer, right? You can give them a spot on stage after your offer is closed, and they can offer something for free and follow up. And that's a valuable stage spot. I would rather have you do that if you need some money in the door. And the reason being that when you're building your platform and you haven't spent a couple of years launching Facebook Live videos and podcasts, and you don't have tens of thousands of people paying attention to you, it is work to get people to an event, and they are investing their time and their travel expenses to be there. And they're oftentimes letting go of money that they would make in their other job to be able to be at your event. So you want to minimize as much resistance as possible to get those people to your event. Now, whether they put down a full scholarship, fully refundable seat deposit of $100 or $197, and you give it back to them at the door, it really doesn't mean anything about how qualified they are to jump into your offer. I've never once led an event and had less than 30% of the people in the room invest in my program. And we've been doing full scholarship events for like 8-9 years. Does that make sense? So have my colleagues, right? My colleagues and I have all proven this model. Now, once you get up and running, Are we going to go to a time where we have enrollment events where people have to buy a ticket and pay for a ticket? We probably will, right? Because the scope of those events gets bigger, and we're renting bigger and bigger hotel rooms. And, you know, for those of you who have some kind of a setup where you need to charge for an event, I'm not 100% opposed to it. We will support you either way, but you will just simply have more people in the room with full scholarship tickets. It's easier to move tickets. Now, it's also important to have a ticket price on those tickets. And every year we have people land on our website and they buy tickets. All of the full scholarship tickets we offer are through promotions. When you go straight to our website, womenrockingbusiness.com, and you click on the event, you'll see that tickets are $397 or $597 or whatever they are. Does that make sense? So we always have a few people buy tickets, but we get to offer promotions all over the place and let people know, hey, we have a limited amount of full scholarship tickets. And that's the thing that gets people off the fence to come to the event. And it's true, there is a limited amount. There's only so many people we can fit in the room. So I highly recommend you guys use that languaging when you do your full scholarship tickets. And one of the tricks to this is that you, especially in the beginning, you want to keep your event costs low. So do your first event in a community center. You know, a couple of our clients last year rented beautiful spaces on college campuses for, you know, $120 a day. There's beautiful event spaces. You can beautify your own event space. You can bring in signs and, you know, fabric and flowers. You can do so much. I've done events. I used to do enrollment events in one of my girlfriend's living rooms. She had a big old living room. She had 3 bathrooms in her house, and she offered me her house to do enrollment events. So I just want to say to you, that's my favorite way to get you guys doing events when you're kind of green, when you haven't had a ton of experience. Keep your event costs low. Megan found a great hotel when she was doing her events, an oceanside hotel, that because it was just a little ways away outside of the city, it was way cheaper than other hotels. And she was able to negotiate a really low hotel room block. And Megan, I think you put yourself out there like 15 or 20 grand for your first event. You just invested. You just decided, I'm going to go all in on myself. And then do you remember how much money you made as a result of that investment?
Yeah, with the first event, so I think the first event was about 18,000 in expenses, and then like just for the event, aside from coaching, mentorship, and everything, and then that first event was over 100,000, and then I used the same venue again the next year, and that's when it ended up being 250,000. So one of the things I would just want to speak to here is the value of finding a great spot, building that relationship, being able to wash, rinse, and repeat, so that you don't have to, you know, do it all over again. It was so much easier that second year. And like Sage was saying, finding a hotel, I used one in Monterey, rather than doing something like right by the San Francisco airport, or, you know, one of the bigger places, or San Jose. I was looking at those and they were so much more per day. So something you could consider if that fits and is on brand for you, to have more of like a retreat-like sort of atmosphere. It worked for my brand to have seaside sort of hotel, and then talk to people about why it was important to actually make the trek out to Monterey. And you have to build it into your marketing, because otherwise they're like, oh, that's hard, I don't know.
Yeah. When you guys choose a venue, if the venue isn't a standard venue right next to the airport, then you're going to want to talk about why you recommend people come. You know, Marcella does her events out on this beautiful property, right, in the middle of nature. And she's always talking about the pilgrimage to come out there, like how valuable that is. That's part of the event. So choose an event you love, and choose a venue you either love or you can, you know, get behind it, and then set the context around that. And then, by the way, you guys, we do this thing at Women Rocking Business where we use these smaller little mini events to fill bigger events. Will you talk about that, Megan?
Yeah, so using local speaking engagements to fill your event is one of the next strategies. It's number 2. And this means you can get in front of already existing groups or your own, like hosting your own group, but just consider who do you know that you could already collaborate with? Like we've talked about this before, but do you have a body worker or a chiropractor or a yoga studio that you go to? Like who has a space and an audience already where you could go into this or and host there? Other meetup group communities, anywhere to offer value, connecting with other people where you could offer a local speaking engagement. And then you offer your full scholarship tickets where people are just putting down their seat deposit right there at the event. And the next strategy totally connected to that is using your own meetup group to fill events. And I think this is something that's important to just note that I've heard from a few of you that you're saying, oh, I'd love to use Meetup and I want to do an event next week. So it's great to give yourself a few months with Meetup because you want to build up an audience. You have tags within Meetup that say what you're about, what your events are about. Meetup will especially help drive traffic towards your early meetups within those first few months. So it's a great time to give yourself like about 3 months prior to Meetup. Being able to use that as a strategy. And I would just add on to that I've combined Meetup with using Eventbrite as well because it's free and you can list your event on Meetup and on Eventbrite with those same tags. And then when people are just searching on Eventbrite for events in their area, they'll find your event, and it also lists it on Facebook as a Facebook event. So think about where you can duplicate these things. You come up with one event. Now you're marketing it on Meetup, Eventbrite, and Facebook events, all 3 places, and getting the word out. And, I was just with Sage at the meetup that we did for Women Rocking Business Live in Santa Cruz last month. I think that was last month, yes. And it was great to just see how many people were coming out having never been at any of our events before. They'd never, they barely even heard of Sage. And so it's a great way to think of, how can you get in front of a new audience who's just looking for a solution to their problem? They're looking for the solution that your signature talk provides.
Yeah, I mean, you guys, I went into this event in San Diego. I don't do a big bring a friend contest around this event because can you guys imagine if I did, you guys would be like, stop talking about bring a friend, right? Like for those of you that have been in our programs for a while, we only do that once a year. It's like, we don't want to, there's more important things to do, right? Than try to do bring a friend contests all year long. So I don't have bring a friend to help me fill this event. And I don't have my events that change lives launch. There's no 200 or 300 people that just bought my $1,000 product that got a free ticket. So I'm asking myself, how am I going to fill this San Diego event? The answer is I fill my event the same way I teach my clients to fill my event. I did a meetup in Santa Cruz. I did 2 meetups in San Diego. Out of just those 3 meetups, 90 tickets. 90 people come to the event just from 3 local speaking gigs. And over half of those people had never heard of me before. Is that reassuring? It works. Okay, the formula works. So the shorter speaking engagements are a lot less of a commitment than a 3-day event. Does that make sense? So you do those 2-hour speaking gigs as a way to warm people up to the relationship with you. And then they see the value of doing 3 more days with you. And what's great is that now they've already met you in person. When they come to the event, you've already been building that relationship. Remember, it's about the quality of the relationship with the people that come. It's not the quantity of people in the room. Megan closed 70% of the room because she had talked to all of those people before they even walked in the door. She called them. She got to know them. Is this helpful? Mm-hmm. So let's talk a little bit about how to promote the event to your list. Free tickets to your emailing list won't do much for you. People just don't usually click on an email and make a 3-day decision. Does that make sense? You've got to warm them up. And that's why we do Facebook challenges to fill our events. And the great thing about doing these Facebook challenges, when I I film these videos 3 days in a row. I offer free tickets the whole time I'm teaching. I'm always seeding, come to the event, come to the event. Here's why you would come. Here's a little bit more teaching. Here's why I want you to come to the event. We can reuse those videos and play those back next year. Do you know what I mean? I don't have to keep doing that every single year. You can replay 30-minute long Facebook Live videos using technology called something, Wirecast.
Yep.
And by the time people come and learn a little bit from me on video and hear that the next step would really be to come learn more experientially, I think we sold another 60 or 70 tickets just with the Facebook live stream. So we're at over 200 now, just between our Facebook challenge, getting it out on social media, and the 3 feeder events. Okay, so and again, at least half those people had never really had much exposure to me before. Some of them none. So I'm telling you, this works. It works. It works. It works. Let's talk about Bring a Friend. Meg.
Yeah. So for Bring a Friend, there's two avenues, 2 ways to use Bring a Friend. One is with the people who are signing up for getting a ticket for your event, and the other is for your current clients, those of you who already have clients. So for the people who are coming to your event, you can let them know that they get 2 full scholarship tickets. So one for themselves and one for a friend. But the thing is, they will see that on the page and not, they're registering themselves at the time and they're not going to remember, oh yeah, I get another ticket for a friend. They need to have a call. So this gives you a great reason for you or an assistant to give them a follow-up call, let them know that they can bring a friend. And that's what we've been doing as well. I've been calling women who are coming to Women Rocking Business Live in San Diego and letting them know, hey, you get to bring a friend with you to the event. Who do you want to come with? This is why it's so great to grow your business alongside someone else and have this common language, have this built-in support system. Can you think of someone in your life who you'd love to do that with? And then it gets them thinking on the spot, and it also gives you a reason to have another touch point and further connection with them, which is awesome. And they love the generosity too. Like, oh yeah, I get to come with someone else. I get to share my room expenses with someone else. I get to travel with someone else. It just makes it a lot more fun. And then the other one is running a Bring a Friend contest for your current clients. So you can offer a prize for anybody who brings a certain number of friends. So if someone brings, for every 1 friend they bring, they could get something from you. If they're the one that brings the most friends, they can win a prize. And it's really important to look at how you position this so that for one thing that would work for all your niches is really positioning it as growing community and growing this common language, so that they have other people in their lives who really understand what they're up to. They're getting to grow that community. And then in the business coaching niche, it definitely works as well to position it as getting to practice having these kind of enrollment conversations with ideal clients. Because when you're enrolling a friend to come, you get to practice like, hey, it's so easy to enroll someone to come to something you already love and believe in. And now you're getting that practice so you can use it for your own events too.
I love it. I love it. So here's the other thing that I want to add about this. There is a script at the end of your handout that's called Stick Campaign. And one of the hottest tricks to having your participants bring friends is to actually, during your nurture sequence, during your sticks, we call it a stick sequence. And by the way, you guys, this is going to be really important that you put into place. Now, it's about right now in the call, right? We're about 40 minutes into the call, 40 minutes into the training, where you're thinking to yourself, this is a lot of work. There's going to be a lot of things I have to do to fill this event. And Megan and I are here to tell you, you don't have to do it all. Pick 2 or 3 strategies that you can do the first time around, the second time around, and then every single time you do this event, you can add strategies because you've created the strategy last year, right? Like we created our Bring a Friend strategy the first year I did an event. And then that script and that whole, you know, standard operating procedure was created. Shannon Fisher was used to calling up everybody within 24 hours of them booking a ticket and saying, oh my gosh, we're so excited to meet you. Sage can't wait to meet you. What's the biggest problem you have going on in your business? And we worked into that process, this question, not do you want to bring a friend to the event, hear what I'm saying right now, but hey, as a part of your full scholarship ticket, this week we're running a promotion, right? Or your full scholarship ticket is eligible to bring one friend also on full scholarship. Who would you like to bring? Not do you want to bring somebody? Who would you like to bring, right? And she would just stop talking. And they would be like, I haven't really thought about it. And she's like, well, it's a great thing to have a friend in the room. And, you know, and if people are like, oh, well, I don't know if I'm going to be able to get somebody, then she would always say, no worries, you're going to meet a ton of friends there. But just that one shift in her stick campaign where she would say, you actually have an extra full scholarship ticket for a friend. It's great to bring a friend for the following reasons. You guys are going to get the content together. You're going to be able to hold each other accountable after the event's over. Who do you think you might want to bring? Just, right? Who? And then they would oftentimes come up with a name. Well, gosh, my friend Laura might want to come. My friend Megan might want to come. Awesome. Why don't you give her a call? I'll extend that free, you know, I'll extend your full scholarship ticket until, what do you think? Maybe till Friday, right? Give her a call, shoot me an email, let me know, and we'd love to meet her, right? And so now this is the difference between somebody going out of their way to recruit a friend and not. Right? One of the easiest ways you can add what we've seen is oftentimes a 20 or 30% uplift just from this one tweak. And remember, again, you're going to be putting certain things in place for your event this year that you get to reuse next year. Okay, so just let that be a bit of an exhale of, you know, I'm building something that I'm going to be able to lean into for years to come, right? And again, like, I don't have to keep creating new slides. I don't have to keep creating all new handouts. It's done, it's made, right? I definitely add a few slides. I always innovate a little bit, but it's done. Okay, let's see. Let's talk about selling blocks of seats as sponsorships. This is a place where I want to actually talk about who to have speak at your event. I know Stacy Ellen asked this question. Several of you guys have asked this question. Who do I have speak? Absolutely, Stacy Ellen, you're correct when you say you invite complimentary speakers rather than somebody who offers exactly what you offer. So some of my best speakers at events are, you know, I brought in Taylor Conroy to speak on TED Talks in Hawaii. He's coming back in San Diego. You know, somebody who wants to invest in getting support with a TED Talk, it's not competitive with what we offer. It's in addition to. I bring in Facebook experts. I bring in relationship and health experts that can talk about the perspective of growing a business, like Ocean Robbins can talk about the perspective of growing a business when you're in the health niche, but he doesn't offer business coaching, so it's totally complementary. I bring in panelists. Sometimes I bring in panelists who offer something similar to what I offer, but the panelists are only able to offer free gifts. So again, it's not going to be competitive with my event when they're in the room, right? Like Ryan Eliason has been on my panel before. He offers business trainings, but he only, you know, he offered a free checklist on how to do referral partnerships. So anybody in the room who really belonged in my program, they weren't going to be tempted to be in somebody else's program, right? Like they're really getting to see the opportunity in front of them is to study with us. So you want to keep your event, you know, doing these events is quite a bit of time and energy. You're building a machine that you can use over and over. You want to reserve the main stage time and the main offer for you. And the safest thing to do is not to let anybody else make a paid offer, period. Have I let other people make paid offers on my stage? Yes, I have. But it's only ever because my offer is closed, it's the third day, it's after lunch. And whenever somebody makes a paid offer on my stage, I also make one more request of them. And that is that they do something special for all of the women that jumped into my program. So if they offer a $1,000 program, anybody who jumped into my program gets it for half off. They get it for $500. And that might mean that I'm waiving my affiliate commission on those sales. Does that make sense? That might mean I'm not making any percentage of those sales because I'm waiving those commissions, because I would rather my clients have the extra spending money to invest in everything they think they want or need and take care of them and really focus on the women that are investing in a year with us. So the reason I speak into this around sponsorships is because having anybody else on your stage is essentially a sponsorship. That's how we invite you to think about it. It's not just, hey, come speak on my stage. No, you're working your butt off to build this stage. All you have to do is one event to realize how valuable that stage is. Raise your hand if you're picking up what I'm laying down, right? We know that when we build a stage, it is so valuable. It is, you know, people pay, I've paid $10,000 to be on other people's stages. I've paid $25,000 to be on other people's stages. I've always monetized. It's always been worth it. I take it very seriously when I invest in a stage. But the business model that we're teaching, where you're going to make an offer at your event that's going to sustain you financially all year long, that kind of an event is not as conducive to lots of sponsors and lots of other speakers. Does that make sense? People just feel oversold to. So the way I like to design my events is I put 3 people on a panel the first day. I ask them to help me get the word out and to help me fill at least 6 to 10 seats. And in exchange for that, they get to be on my panel and they get to give a free gift to everybody in the audience. And the way that we do that is we take all of their free gifts and we put them on one handout so that it's not tacky. They're not having to do a text responder for 3 different speakers. All 3 free gifts, one handout. They can check the gifts they want out of all 3. And then in the back of the room, my team enters all of the email addresses into lists and gives those lists of emails to my 3 panelists. It's a little bit of extra work, but a super classy way to build some credibility. Now I have other 7-figure entrepreneurs on my stage. They're helping me fill the room, and they're getting a chance to get some leads, to get some potential clients through the follow-up that they do with any email addresses that they get at my event. And then I oftentimes have one speaker on day 3 after my offer is closed, after lunch, and I prefer these days that that speaker makes an offer for something for free and follows up. But in the past, I've also allowed speakers to do like a $1,000 offer or a $2,000 offer. And again, anybody that buys that offer that's already said yes to my program gets a discount on that offer. When you do sponsorships, if your space is conducive to it, you can also give people a booth. You guys have seen us have booths set up in the back of Women Rocking Business Live. We've had jewelry, we've had merchandise, we've had doTERRA essential oils come sponsor us. So you can do some creative things, and you just want to make sure that you take care of your sponsors, and that's why it's another level of complexity, right? It's like, I really invite you guys with your first event, think about keeping it as simple as possible, right? Because your job is to take care of the clients in the room and to help them make a decision on whether to study with you or not. In terms of taking care of sponsors, when you do have sponsors, you definitely want to find a time to either pull them up on stage or make an announcement from stage that, hey, there's some great resources back there. You have to be a part of sending people back to the sponsorship booths. You can't just let them do the work on their own in order to be a responsible sponsor. I also want to mention that there's a bunch of sponsorship resources in the library. You can see the sponsorship packet that we laid out, how much we charge for some of our stage spots. You can see how we do that whole thing in the handout in the library. Let's talk about offering tickets to referral partners.
Yeah, so Sage mentioned this a little bit in terms of inviting people to be on a panel who've offered tickets to their community. And this is a great way to create a win-win. So reaching out to your referral partners who have complimentary services, and then asking them if they would like to promote your event, and then give them free tickets. So you can say, you have 10 tickets or 15 tickets that you're giving them, and then they send out an email and say, like, when Sage let me know she would gift my community 12 free tickets to her upcoming Women Rocking Business Live event, I jumped on the opportunity because I know her event will help you grow a business that is authentic and prosperous. So creating a little copy, we have an example copy there on the handout, but a simple short email that they can send out that is inviting their community to grab a ticket to your event. And also reminding them that it doesn't only have to be in an email, because we know that open rates are definitely down for emails, but they could think of, who do they know? Maybe it's past clients or colleagues or friends who would be a great fit, and they can send a text message or a Facebook message and really get that word out in a personal message way. So we've had people send to our events, like Elizabeth Beads, actually, I think you're on the call too. Elizabeth Beads did this before she was in Leverage. She sent out to her community some private messages and following up with people and inviting them to Women Rocking Business Live event, and ended up being one of our top affiliate partners for her reach out, even though at the time her list wasn't that big. And so you can think about, who do you know who is heartfelt and dedicated and loves what you're up to, and they don't have to have a list of thousands of people. They just have to have the ability to do the reach out and then add more people to your event that way.
And super big hint here, you guys, find local leaders, right? Like, Sophia's about ready to do an event in San Diego. She may want to be thinking about, who does she know in San Diego that might have a local following that could help her fill her event. I know for me, because I'm doing an event in San Diego, it's no accident that 2 of the speakers that you're going to see at my San Diego event are from San Diego, because they helped me fill the event, because they have they speak locally sometimes. Sophia and Elizabeth, have you guys done Facebook Lives to help each other promote your stuff as well? Have you guys done like a Facebook Live interview of each other? I can't remember.
We haven't done it yet, but we've definitely talked about it.
Yeah, absolutely. Who here has? I know some of you guys have. You guys can interview each other on Facebook. Kim Lee has. You guys can, Rose Cole has. Rose, who did you interview?
Actually, Sophia interviewed me.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah, I interviewed her for Temple Body Day, yes. And Rose and Debbie are going to be speaking at my event, and they're both.
Yeah, and then Rose can give out, Rose could, did you give out free tickets to your event, full scholarship tickets to your event, Rose, on that interview?
I have a free gift, and so they're going to the free gift, and so they're going to be part of my funnel.
Perfect. Yeah. And I would recommend that when you guys partner up to actually fill your events with each other, to actually give out full scholarship tickets on a Facebook Live interview with each other. Does that make sense? Because that way you can really build the value of attending the event. Marcella, did you have something to add? Oh, I thought I saw your hand go up.
Yeah, I was just going to say that I have done interviews quite a bit. I'll bring anybody from my BOD group that I've met through your community that has inspired story to share and relatable to what I'm teaching, and then they'll either offer their free gift, mostly free gift unless it's in alignment with the upcoming event. But it works really well. I get great feedback on those. They're very inspiring.
Awesome. I love it. Yeah, you guys, like when you're really in that 3-month window before an event, anytime you ever can offer your full scholarship ticket, that's the best gift you can give, because then you get to spend 10 or 15 minutes really building the value of what's going to happen at that event. Why would you want to come? Why would I do something crazy like ask you to carve out 3 days of your life and fly into Montana or the Big Island or Costa Rica or wherever it is, right? Because really you've got to speak very directly to the geographical objection that people are going to have. People are going to have an objection over getting on a plane or traveling. So you have to speak into that and, you know, really explain why you would have them disrupt their lives and change their schedule around and come to you for 3 days because they're going to get an experiential breakthrough around XYZ topic. Always build the experiential value of your events, right? For me, the plug is always, look, I can teach you some enrollment tools over the video camera, but I'm never going to be able to turn you into a master enroller where you actually embody enrollment in your cells if I don't have you there live in person, where you can actually practice and get dirty and get your fingers in the energy of your offer and how to enroll clients and how to dance with your own clients' objections. That is training that I've got to do 3-dimensionally with you. And honestly, I've literally watched people, as I say those words, they start to perk up like, oh yeah, oh, she's right, I need to come. You know, that's a skill I know I need to get better at. And they can feel that in person, it's going to be valuable, right? So what's the big result of your event? What's the big reason why people are going to move their lives around? That's like probably the most important thing you can do above all of these other things, is you being clear on why your event is going to change people's lives, what they're going to walk out of with. And then number 8 is all about local strategies, right? These local strategies can be used on or off Facebook. So make a note, it's not just about local Facebook strategies, but we use local Facebook strategies because you can target people locally on Facebook. We can run ads specifically to Bay Area women entrepreneurs, or specifically run ads to San Diego or Southern California women entrepreneurs. And I always make a video just for my local women, and I always say something, I gave you guys the script here, I always say something like, hey, women fly in from all over the world for this event, and I want to make sure to make it as easy as possible for you. You're my neighbor, right? You live down the street from me practically. I want to make it as easy as possible for you to come. That's why I'm opening up a limited amount of totally full scholarship tickets specifically for my Bay Area tribe, right? And so again, if you live in the boonies, because I know some of you do, goddess bless you for living out in the boonies, you can drive. Choose the biggest metropolitan area within 2 or 3 hours of where you live, and just spend some time there doing your 2-hour meetups and getting some of your Facebook advertising and social media advertising in front of those people. Those are oftentimes your lowest hanging fruit because they don't have to get on a plane, okay? Let's talk for a few minutes about just that nurture sequence, Megan. You did a good job of that.
All right. So when you create a nurture sequence, you're really following up with people to help them after they've registered for your event, or before, even before they've registered for the event, you're nurturing them. So I want to speak to that first. Of course, you're sending out multiple emails, encouraging them to register and come to webinars or talks and things like that you're offering. But then often what gets forgotten is once people registered, you just think, oh, now they're in, I can forget about them until I see them 3 months from now. And that doesn't work. You need to stay in connection with them. So you want to send them an email that really pumps them up about what they're going to take away from the event, how it's going to be powerful for them. Also, of course, giving them the details they need for travel, like what they need to pack, what the schedule of the event is, where, you know, what the hotel is and where they can make their reservations. So give them the basic details, but also those exciting things that you're adding in along the way. So when you add in a special dinner for them, or you're going to have a new guest speaker and you send them that email that, oh, exciting announcement just for you, wanting you to be the first to know that we have this amazing guest speaker coming you're going to get to see. And then if you have VIP tickets or networking meals, you're letting them know that you've opened those up and it's time for them to register. And also the countdown. So people get nervous in that last week or so, couple weeks before the event. So making sure you've got some emails in there, and even speaking to that, like I remember I sent out an email that was saying, I know it's normal to start to feel like, oh, I should really be home with my kids, or I shouldn't take this time off work, or maybe I shouldn't have signed up for this. I have a lot on my plate right now. And are you willing to make your business a priority? When you signed up, you were willing to make your business a priority. So I stand with you and know that you're resourceful and able to move through any obstacles that might present themselves. This is sometimes the universe provides you a kind of cosmic pop quiz right before an event. And so just letting people know that that's normal, that this happens. It's not just for them. And when I have calls with people as well, this comes up a lot on the calls. Like, oh, I know I did sign up for that. Like for Women Rocking Business Live, I've had calls with women saying, oh yeah, I signed up for that, but I'm really thinking that now I'm not going to come. Maybe I'll come next year. I'm like, oh, really? I'm curious. What had you sign up? What were you really wanting? And so diving into a mini grow conversation, getting them back in. So the re-enrollment happens even before the event through your nurture sequence, through your follow-up calls.
And I want to just remind you, why do we go to the trouble to do all this? Why? Why do you guys think? Who's got an answer? Why do we go to the trouble to do all this for a 2-day event, a 3-day event? Just unmute yourself, Audrey. There you go. Oh, you got it. Oh, I just did it at the same time.
Oh, you did it at the same time I did. Butts in seats, just get people there so that they can experience the whole thing, and then they'll be much more likely to sign up for the longer program.
Yes, absolutely. Why else do we do this?
I'll say why, Sage. For me, I'm thinking of my clients, and they need me to hold that space for that they can make this change.
Yep.
That's what I'm speaking to, is that part of them that knows they can, they're just afraid.
Absolutely. You and Audrey are both correct. Why else do we do this?
Hey, it's Lisa. It's building your brand and showing up consistently as being someone who knows, who cares, and who's there.
Yep. I agree with all of it. There's one other reason I'm thinking of too. Who else has a share? Valerie?
For me is the need to fulfillment, to really be able to give them our gifts through the 1-year program that we're going to offer. I mean, for the longer term vision that we're holding for them.
Yes. The results that we see our clients have filling programs off of 3-day events, specifically 3 days or 2.5 days, the results that we see our clients have filling events off the back end of these multi-day events are outperforming any other way of filling 6 and 12-month programs. Can you fill a 6 or 12-month program using only digital marketing and 2-hour speaking gigs? Yes. Are you gonna have the same results? Probably not. It is the fastest way to have that $50,000 revenue event, that $100,000 revenue event. I remember when Keisha Mitchell, do you guys remember Keisha? She's going to be in San Diego. She came back and she was so resistant. She's like, Sage, God damn it, this feels like 10 times more work than anything I'm doing online. And then she came back to me and she's like, boom, $30,000 in my bank account, 3 days. She's like, I finally get that people want what I have to offer, and I finally get that I can make the kind of money that I can live off of. And so there's something that happens when you say yes to this and you have that result. And I don't care if you go do your first 2-day or 3-day live event and you only have 4 people sign up. I don't care. It's still a huge win. I don't care if you only have 2 people sign up or 1 person. It's a huge win because you can go do it again and it's 10 times easier the second time. But chances are, if you prepare yourself right and really dot your I's and cross your T's, Junie Moon went through this. Junie had a small, intimate event, but you launched your program off the back end. Junie, you did a beautiful job. I don't know if you're still here. But I'm here to remind you that we do this, yes, to build our brand, yes, to connect with people. But this is really the difference between amateur level, I'm just kind of playing around in my business, and I'm putting a stake in the ground. I want to be a pro. I want to be a pro. I'm building a brand. I'm building long-term transformational programs, and I'm here to stay. I'm going to be running these programs for the next few years, for the next 5 years, for the next 10 years. I see that they can become a well-oiled machine. I see that I can build out a team to help me take care of all of these people that are going to jump in, and I'm going to get to change lives. You know, Sophia, is it okay if I share a little bit about the team conversation we've been having?
Sure, yeah.
I mean, Sophia and I have been going back and forth about her building out her team, and it was so sweet. Sophia basically sent me this message that was like, here's all the team members that I need to be able to do what I do on the planet. And she described all the team members, and she basically described like my team. You know, she's like, I have a COO, I have a launch manager, I have an affiliate, somebody helping me with affiliate partnerships, I have somebody helping me take care of all my clients. And I'm basically like, you just described the team that you will have because you're going to continue doing these events. Because Sophia's on her way to 7 figures, right? She doesn't quite have the revenue this moment to hire the whole team, but we talked about and we made a decision of what are those first 1 or 2 hires that she needs now. And it's going to be her events that get her to that point. Are you guys picking up what I'm laying down? It's going to be your events, your commitment to doing events or online launches and really getting better every single time you do it. And Sophia's already great at events, so she knows she can just keep rinsing, and repeating. So unmute yourself and make a sound of how you're feeling about events now. You got this. We're going to move into talking about how to actually design the curriculum for these events, design the content. But are there any quick burning questions about filling the event? Specifics based on like what we just covered.
I have a question, actually. Something that Megan, you mentioned about having women fill out an application. So yeah, what do you recommend for that? Like that when they sign up, they actually fill out an application, and because I didn't know their telephone number either.
Yeah, so what I mean by signing up, that they're filling in an application is really their registration form for the ticket to the event. And so I would always ask a couple of questions on there to find out, like, what are they most wanting to get out of the event? What's their biggest challenge right now? So that I'm getting that research to know, oh, here's the things, like majority of the people in the room, I've got 70% of the people who all have this major challenge. I better build out some solid content to address that. Or when I get on the phone with them, also it gives me more of an overview to see what do they really need.
And if you guys haven't done that, or if it's tricky to figure out the technology around it, the other thing that you guys can do as soon as people sign up is you can include a little SurveyMonkey survey. It's totally free to use, create little surveys through SurveyMonkey. You can either do it yourself or have your assistant set up like a 3 or 5 question survey through SurveyMonkey and send out the link in an email. And in the subject line say, quick favor before you attend the event, or help me plan the event in the subject line, right? And it's like, hey, help me plan out the event. I want to make sure that I get you everything you need. Click here to tell me, this will take 2 minutes. Always tell them it'll just take 2 minutes or less. Tell me where you're at. What's the biggest thing you want to get out of it? And always ask for people's phone numbers. When you guys have event registrations, always make sure your tech person includes a phone number field. And if they forget, you can always send out that SurveyMonkey response and have one of the questions be, could we get your phone number for a quick reminder call? We promise not to share your phone number with anybody else. I also wanted to give you guys the tip that when you're doing your shorter 2-hour events, your meetups or your feeder events, just like Megan said, you want to splash those events around everywhere. When I did one event in Santa Cruz, but that event was listed on Facebook. It was listed on Eventbrite. It was listed on meetup.com. And there was a way that people could sign up through my website. Now, you don't have to do all 4 of those, but at least do a couple, like at least do Facebook and Meetup or Facebook and Eventbrite. And it's in some ways it's crazy not to put it on meetup.com, because you'll usually get a few more people coming just because you posted it on Meetup. It costs a little bit of money. So if you're in a city that you don't normally do events in, you could always see if you could find somebody else who has a Meetup group that you could advertise through. But go to the trouble of posting the event, those 2-hour events. Go to the trouble of posting them as many places as possible. What about you, Kira? What's your question? Hi, sweetheart.
Oh, hello. I am about what you just shared. I was really excited when you started talking about sponsorships because I hadn't even realized this is an opportunity to help me pay for the immediate expenses of the event. And I missed, where do we find out how much to charge? And if I look at your handout and it says this is how much we charge for a sponsorship, is this based on the size of the event, the capacity?
Yeah, absolutely. So when you go into your library, you'll see that there's some information in here around sponsorship. And you'll see our sponsorship examples and our sponsor contract. And you'll see that we do charge upwards of $5,000, $10,000, even $20,000 for a stage spot on our stage, because we're going to have 400 or 500 people in the room. So then you can just start doing the math, right? If I'm going to have 50 people in the room, how do I kind of adjust the numbers accordingly, right? If stage is charging 10 grand for a speaker spot at 500 people, then if you have 50 people in the room, you might charge $1,000. Right? And again, you want to think about what are your promises. Like I've done sponsorship spots where I might pay $5,000 to speak, and they promise me 100 people in the room, and then they say if there's less people in the room, for every 10 people less it is, we'll give you back $1,000. So they're really holding themselves to that 100 people in the room. And if for some reason there was only 90 people in the room, I would end up paying $4,000. So it's just, you want to think about it in terms of your sponsor and in terms of, what you can commit to and the fairness there. But Kira, yeah, it can be a great model.
Thank you.
Yeah, kiss for Kira, mwah, kiss for Sophia, kiss for everybody that's shared. What about Valerie?
Thank you, Sage. I have these 2 questions for everybody. How many people do we need in our team when we do our first event? If you can speak to that. And the other one is the value of the ticket you mentioned. We went back and forth with Sarah Coolidge, who's preparing her event, about the value she put on her website. And 200 is too little, 900 is too much. How do you, $900 for a 3-day event seems like so little. So can you speak to those 2 things, please?
So yeah, you want to think about the long-term game. When you guys are pricing out your events, you want to ask yourself, if I charge $900 for an event, how much work is it going to be to get 10 people there? It's going to be a big marketing push and a big enrollment conversation to get 10 people paying $900.
No, I'm just talking virtually. Like the number you put for the, it's worth it 100, but you get the scholarship.
Yeah, the answer is you make it up. But I do want, I'll finish going down that rabbit hole just because I know some of us ask that question, right? I want to just really put in that plug that, again, more people in the room creates that engine to be able to offer not just $500 tickets or $300 tickets, but offer $3,000 programs, $5,000 programs, $10,000 programs. And that's really where the money is in events. The whole point of doing events is to set yourself up for recurring revenue for many months to come. You get to take that exhale and be more of a professional and have more resources when you're going about the process of growing your business. Now, what do you charge? What is the ticket price you put on it? You want to probably put any ticket price on it between $397 and $1997. It could be anywhere in there. And like for me with Women Rocking Business Live, I know it's probably worth a couple $1,000s, but I usually put $497 because I just like to be humble. Do you know what I mean? And a lot of people in the industry know I'm giving away full scholarship tickets. So to say, this event is worth $5,000, but I'm going to give you a full scholarship ticket, it feels salesy to me. I think people are sick and tired of those kinds of big flashy numbers. So you just want to ask yourself what feels right in your body. Now let's talk about how many team members to set up. And we'll do a little bit deeper dive into this on the Q&A call. But for now, I want to say that the rough math for events is that you're going to want 1 staff member for every 10 to 20 participants. And that bodes true. We have 200 people coming to the San Diego event. We've got about 15 staff lined up for that event. We have, when we do our 400-person events, we have 30 or 35 staff. When Tony Robbins does his 10,000-person event, he had around 700 volunteers on the floor. Like, I like to ask, like, you know, are these numbers staying true the bigger your rooms get? The answer is yes. Now, even at a small event, you're gonna always wanna have at least 2 team members, is my belief. Because you want somebody that's helping to take care of you, and you want somebody who's helping to take care of the participants. So the person who takes care of the participants is gonna help you with registration. They're gonna help you with knowing who all the people who are coming. They're gonna be the liaison with the venue. They're gonna handle all the conversations, if there's catering, if you put coffee out, if there's drinking water and the coffee spills all over the floor, if there's any issue with the venue, that's their job. Everything venue related, everything registration related. You wanna get them ready ahead of time. You want somebody on the floor who is gonna take care of you, who's going to make sure that you have what you need, that you're drinking, that you're hydrated, that you know, you're getting driven back and forth to the venue. You don't want to be thinking about a lot of things yourself when you're in that kind of leadership 2 or 3 days in a row. They put a pacemaker on Brendan Bouchard. Being on stage all day is the equivalent of running a marathon every day, and that's just physically. That's not taking into account the emotional space holding. And that's one of the reasons why we tell you to come staff our events. Come get the practice. And it's also a reason why you want to have somebody come speak for at least one session of the day. So you can take an hour or an hour and a half or 2 hours where you are not the one on stage, right? And, you know, Elizabeth and Sophia, I know, have talked about coming in and just teaching at each other's events and just helping to hold space just so that neither one of them has to completely do it alone. I don't know if you guys have done that yet, but it's like you guys can do that with each other. You don't even have to like make big offers to each other's audiences. Just make an agreement where you're going to come help each other hold space at each other's events. So we'll dive more into team in a couple weeks because I want to make sure that we get a chance to go through creating content for the event. But keep writing down your questions because I know there's more to flush out. And I want to talk a little bit about designing the content. So first thing I want to have you look at is one of our event planning documents. One of my favorite things to do is to print out one of these rubrics, right? One of these tables. This is literally what I use to create my events. I break down my itinerary into 4 or 5 sessions, depending on if there's an evening session. I always just start to brainstorm what's the content I want to teach, what's the big outcome of each session, because the sessions build on each other, and then who and what is needed for each session. So my favorite thing to do for those of you that are coming next weekend to San Diego, you know, print this thing out and sit in an event and use the event, use the energy of being in the event to brainstorm what would you do in the corresponding sessions. So let me talk a little bit about how I think about my events. And just so you guys know, there's a ton of information on this handout about how to put your events together and what's the timing of the offer, right? I put all of that in there for easy referencing. You know, if I'm doing a 2-day event, when do I make the offer? If I'm doing a 3-day event, when do I make the offer? But I also want to share with you this handout called Strategic Content Creation for Events or Videos. Some of you have seen this handout before, and you may not have realized that this really is the psychology behind an event, putting together an event. In the same way that you might do 3 days worth of videos, and you want to think about day 1 of those video series is all about what's the opportunity, what's the vision, how do I get my potential clients in touch with their vision. Day 2 is all about, oh my gosh, what's in the way, what's the transformation needed. And day 3 is all about how do I empower the people in my room or the people watching my video to know that they can do this too, right? It's the ownership experience. It's the you can do this too content. I'm not the only one that can pull this off, right? So when you think about Women Rocking Business, some of you guys are pretty familiar with the flow of our 3-day event. The first day is all about messaging. Who are your clients? What's the vision of your business? What does it look like when you have all the clients that you want and you're making the money that you want, right? So they get in touch with their vision. Remember, anytime you do an event of any sort, you want to think about grow. Basically, you're bringing the grow blueprint, and you're putting it right on top of anything that you're doing in your business, your videos or your events, because your job is to get people in touch with what they want more than anything, the goal, the vision, and what is in the way, because you are the bridge between those two things. So for Women Rocking Business Live, our 3-day event, the first day is all about your message and building your dream business. The second day is all about money, which totally makes sense, because guess what? Money is usually what's standing in people's way of having their dream business. Megan, do you want to talk a little bit more about how day 1 flows into day 2?
Yeah, so day 1 is, like Sage was saying, it's really the G of the grow conversation, and looking at their goals and their vision, and you feel the excitement in the room, everyone's in that flow. And then in day 2, you're taking them deeper into what's their reality, what's been stopping them, what are their gremlins and limiting beliefs, what's been getting in the way. That's really the focus of day 2. So if you think about your whole event as a grow conversation and you're following that arc through your event, then you already have this template to lay over your content. So when you're asking questions about where should I put the content, well, think about where does it fall within the grow conversation. So day 2 is really all about what's in the way. Exactly.
And I want to just really hit this point home. There's no wrong way to design your event. I'm going to really encourage you guys not to stress out too much about which piece of content goes where. There's really no wrong way to do it when you make sure that you're hitting all the points of grow. Does that make sense? If you make sure to hit the G and the R of grow before you make your offer, there's all kinds of things that you can do in your events to accomplish that for your participants. I'm going to share with you the handout on creating breakthrough exercises so that you know it's here, and just to make sure that you are familiar with it. I've typed out basically all of the breakthrough exercises that we use at Women Rocking Business. You guys have done a lot of these with us. Repeating questions, right? Partner asks the question over and over and over again, right? Sentence stems, grab a partner, fill in the sentence stem. When you do these, you want to make the instructions really clear. You want to be really clear with what you're doing. And ideally, you want to write this down, role play it on stage. You guys have seen me do this lots of times. I bring somebody up. I actually go through the entire exercise with somebody on stage so that the people in the audience are super clear what it is that we're asking them to do. And I will oftentimes make a slide that actually shows the partner asks this question, what do you want? Partner 2 says, thank you. Partner 1 says, what else do you want? Partner 2 says, thank you. Does that make sense? I literally turn these questions into a slide and I tell them exactly what I want them to do. Acknowledgement exercises, these are like the ones that you guys see us do in the morning. They work as a mingle. We'll make a slide that says, the woman I see in you is, the mother I see in you is, fill in the blank. And you talk about the power of acknowledging each other and the way that that creates community in the room. And you give people a few minutes to go acknowledge 3 people. Always remember to say, no crosstalk, right? This is not a time to just start talking about the weather or your kids. These are the only words you're saying during this exercise, right? One of the big things about setting up these exercises is just practicing so that you are clear in the instructions to give, so that you're literally giving instructions as if you'd tell a 12-year-old what to do. And the reason why we're doing that is because in these events, there's so much going on around people. We've got introverts in the room. We've got extreme extroverts who are, you know, having light bulbs go off every other minute. They're not listening to you in the same way they would be listening to you if you were sitting down and having coffee one-on-one. So you want to, you know, I always go back to my school teacher years, and I set up the exercise. You guys have seen me do it. I'm kind of geeky, like I'm a school teacher on stage. But I just want to put in that plug, and we can also get you guys, if I've got a video somewhere of me setting up a breakthrough exercise. I can get you guys a short video clip of that within the next week or two so that you have that to watch as well. And visualizations are great things to do. You guys know the deal. Put on some meditation music and walk people through getting to vision their own, you know, amazing life. And one last thing I'll say about creating content, and there's more information about creating content in your library. There's quite a bit more information. I did a call specifically on creating content that you'll want to go listen to. You want to think about the learning cycle. There's a saying, write this down, that says impression without expression leads to depression. I'll say that one more time. Impression without expression leads to depression. Your job is to give people information and then let them do something with that information. Let them have their own expression of it. If you fill them too full of content, their eyes glaze over and they start checking out. You see me do this on the call sometimes when I say, raise your hand if this, who wants to share the answer to this question? We're also doing that on stage. 20, 30, 45 minutes of content, and then get them in a partner exercise. Get them doing some journaling in their binder. Get them doing something in a small group. Get them having a discussion, right? It's really awesome to have rooms of 8 or 10 or 12 or 20 people, because you can do a lot of small group discussions and cover a lot of territory and get them a lot of individual attention in those small groups, right? Because they can all have a lot of time to ask their questions, and that's how you actually build that quality of relationship that Megan was speaking into, when then you end up closing 70% of the room, because they were all so involved in the event, right? The more people have a voice in the room, the more likely they are to buy. So when you're creating your flow of your day, you want to think about having not more than 2 or 3 content sections and at least a couple of expression exercises. And we basically just recommend you alternate. And when you come into our rooms, you'll see us do it. We're consistently alternating with teaching, watching some slides go by, doing some Q&A, doing an exercise, taking some shares, going to break, coming back, doing some teaching, answering some questions, some kind of a short integration exercise. I always like to take shares after the integration exercise. That brings the whole room back together, going to break. Is this helpful? What questions do you guys have about content? Kia, I saw your hand go up. And I also saw Leah, your hand was up before. We can circle back around to you.
Yeah, I actually have a question about after the offer. So initially, you know, it's all the grows kind of leading up to the offer. You make the offer, and then there's more seeding of the offer, and then you have the follow-up offer, but then you tend to close after morning break on the last day. So what's the rest of the day content where you're not letting it drop, but you're keeping the energy up? And what are you bringing back to them for the last sections?
Yep. So first tip is for sure always have a little bit of content after the offer. It doesn't have to be right after the offer, probably the next day. Always give them more content, because you don't want it to be like, hey, I just made this offer, now we're done. Now the only thing we're talking about is whether you want to do the program or not, right? Because it's just tacky, right? So we're always sure to keep teaching. Always make time after the offer to do hot seats. Debbie Lichter crushed this at her event. I went to her event last year to support her, and I walked in right after her offer, and she had gone into hot seats. And she was just doing a phenomenal job coaching the women, and the women that she coached, she would always say, are you going to do the program? She'd be bold, right? And ask them in front of everybody, are you thinking about doing the program? And be in the conversation in public around whether people are thinking about doing the program or not. I know it sounds scary for some of you, and it's worth it, I promise, because they're thinking about it. And it doesn't matter if you get them to a yes on stage, but what happens is it allows you to handle objections live and in person and in the room. And it's one of the reasons why we have clients come to our events over and over and over again. You know, Susan Pierce Thompson flew back and forth from the East Coast several times the year she worked with me, because she just wanted to see me doing the Q&A and dealing with the objections and doing the laser coaching. Like, it's just, you know, it's almost impossible for me to train you to do that without you just being in the room, because it's all spontaneous. And it's like, just how do you do it? And I've been to a lot of events where I personally don't know that they do that good of a job. And some facilitators do an amazing job, you know, but it's like, for sure, go places where you can study that part of it, because that's going to make you a better coach when you're on Zoom, when you're on conference lines, when you're on, you know, Facebook Live video. It's going to make you a better coach everywhere to practice and see it happening in the room. And then in terms of the re-offer, we have a re-offer training that we're preparing for you guys. So you guys, I'll kind of say everything I need to say about how to make that offer number 2 the next morning. So stay tuned for that. We're going to get you guys that this month. So keep your eyes out for the re-offer training. But that's the thing, right? Like, your offer is not a standalone offer. Your offer really starts the minute they walk into the room, and you're training them, and you're mentioning what's next, and you're talking about clients you've worked with, and then you make the offer, and then you let people know, I'll be asking you to make a decision by tomorrow at the morning break. We always give the disclaimer, we like to know who's jumping in by tomorrow morning at the morning break, because we'll be having lunch with people who are spending the year with us. And we just need to be able to give the caterer a pretty accurate head count of how many meals to prepare. So, you know, absolutely, we encourage you guys to call your spouses, take the time to think about it tonight, and we'll just ask that you make your decision by tomorrow, right around 10:30 a.m. before the morning break. And then in that slot before 10:30 a.m., in that sort of 10 to 10:30 a.m. slot, I'm making another mini offer. It's a great time to tell a story about a client who you've loved working with. It's a great time to show a little inspirational video around what's possible when you make a commitment. It's a great time to do a little bit more of hot seat coaching. Is that helpful, Kia? And then I usually close down the second offer, and then I go straight into content. I'm just serve. I'm just giving to you. We just closed the offer. Now it's just time for me to give to you. And we always have people, even after the offer is closed, decide to come back to the back of the room and talk to our coaches. You know, I was thinking I wouldn't do it, but maybe I'm thinking I should do it, right? And part of that container that's having them continue making that decision all the way through, I believe, is because they really understand we're here to serve them all the way till the end, no matter whether they say yes or not. And I always tell people, yes, we're having lunch with the folks that decided to spend a year with us, but we are one tribe in the room all the way up until the event ends on day 3. We are one tribe, right? Because it's that exclusivity thing that can leave a bad taste in people's mouths. that helpful?
Yeah.
Awesome. Kiss Rakia. Mwah. What about you, Tracy?
We're gonna talk to Leah first. That was my only.
Oh yeah, Leah.
Thank you, Tracy. My question is simple. How do you decide to name, what do you decide? Let me actually rephrase my question. So when you're naming your event, and yours is Women Rocking Business, and that's the name of your company, what if your company is your name? What are we going to name the event?
Yeah, you want to have a title that passes the face test, essentially, in the same way that you choose a signature talk title.
Okay.
And you can absolutely work with your coach on that. Do you have an idea for what you want to call your event right now?
I do not. No.
Good. Well,
I mean, I was like women in wellness, or women working in wellness, something like that. But,
yeah, or maybe like the Women's Wellness Summit.
Yeah.
Or Women's Wellness Transformed, or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Some kind of a results-based word in there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I would maybe do a little poll on Facebook. Come up with like 3 or 4 options, and we'll tell you what we think.
Okay, that's
I love it. Yeah, good question. Oh yeah, that little thing, the event title.
Yeah.
So glad somebody reminded me to speak into that today.
Okay.
All right, what about you, Tracy?
Thanks. One of the things that's coming up for me is when thinking about content, I'm getting lots of ideas of what I'd like to do in an event, but I'm remembering the concern about in our enrollment conversations to not be giving like too many solutions so that they think, oh, now I know whatever I need to know and I don't need to do your program. I'm going to go do what you just told me to do. And how do you kind of balance that over delivering, doing a lot, but not creating that problem? And I know it's about focusing on the gap still, but would love to hear what you have to say about that.
Yeah, Megan, do you want to speak into the spiral marketing around this? And then if you guys have not listened to the library call around offers and making paid offers, right? Like the whole big question here is, right? Like there's 2 trainings that you have to watch on making offers and making paid offers, because that'll also speak into how to really make that offer from stage. And they're not that long, but the whole question here is, how do you make sure that your offer is offering something that's juicy enough that no matter what you teach at the event, they see the opportunity for more? Megan, do you want to add?
Yeah, well, so as Sage was just mentioning, spiral marketing, you'll see at Women Rocking Business Live, when we talk about niche, for instance, and getting clarity on your message, that might seem to solve a big problem. But then within that, we're building in, once you know what you're here for, what your message is, and who you're here to serve, now how are you going to do it? You don't yet know how to build out a program, how to make offers, how to host your own events, what's the content you're going to create, how do you reach people online? So you have to have this balance at your events between teaching something that solves their next or solves their first problem, really is what the event is about, is solve that first problem that gets it in the door. And then as you're solving that problem, you're also mentioning, and here's what you would do next. So one of the ways I did this before making my offer at my event for the last 3 years was I had a checklist talking about all the things that they would need to grow their business. And then we filled in, okay, now we've done X, Y, and Z this weekend, and let's look at the checklist for some of the other things that you need to do over the course of the first year in building your business. And then as they would go to check things off, they realized, oh yeah, I have 1 out of 10 things done, and I still need some more help. So I know for many of you, you could create some kind of a checklist like that, and that can be part of building your content out for an event to really help people see, here are the gaps, and this is what I would need to do next.
Yeah, that really helps. I like the checklist idea a lot, because I wasn't sure how to not be tacky about always being like, but you still are going to need help to implement.
Yeah, and it's not tacky, it's honest.
That's true.
So I think that's really helpful to remember. It's just, you're being honest. If you told them, yeah, once you have this, like if we said to everyone, now that you know what your message is, go out into the world. Like that's just, it's not going to work on its own. So remembering that you're not being salesy, you're being honest.
Thank you.
And to find language, Tracy, for yourself that feels authentic. You know, these were the kinds of sentences I would practice in the shower. You know, and I still do. I have to get myself back in that mode of like, oh yeah, I'm about to make an offer on stage. What are the phrases? What are the things that I'm going to need to have come out of my mouth that might not be as natural as some of the other things I say? But, you know, to really invite people, like once you have these things, then the next steps are going to be this, 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 and this. And, you know, for those of you that are interested in gaining more support, that happens to be what I cover in my blah, blah, blah program, you know, to really be able to lay it down. And just be factual about it, because it's just real. I mean, I actually believe it would be irresponsible for any of us to go out and just do a 2 or 3 day event, just like Megan said, and just send people out into the world with no other opportunity for support. And, you know, really quickly, just to recap, the definition of spiral marketing is inherent in any problem that you solve lies another problem. And that's just life. Life is about problem solving. Right? It's what we do. It's why we're all able to build profitable business, is because we solve problems for people. So we have to let people know what those problems are that we solve, or else they wouldn't know whether they want to buy from us or not. I love it. Kiss for everyone that's shared. Mwah! Stacy Ellen, what do you got? Oh, and then I see you too, Virginia and Yamaya. What do you got, Stacy?
Stacy, unmute yourself. Oh. There we go. No. I still don't hear you. Do you, Sage?
Nope, we can't hear you, love.
Yeah, it says you're unmuted, but maybe just try grabbing a headset and plug that in, and we'll pop back over to you.
All right. What about you, Virginia Sanchez? How are you?
Hi, let me unmute.
I just did. There you go.
I'm bad. I have a cold. I'm really tired. I just finished my event. It was fabulous. And then, boom, my health went down. I realized it was a 10-day event. It was with the women that are doing the year-long program. Yeah. And they were 2/3 way into the program. And so I wasn't selling anything. Although, in fact, I was kind of selling a sort of, you can call it coaches program, although it's not a coaches program. It's somebody, it's a group, it's inviting them to see who would want to accompany, you know, and read the homeworks of the next generation. So it is kind of a coaching. It's like what Megan, but it's different in the sense that it's real homework. So I realized that I didn't do enough integration exercises, and that's probably what has me really tired as I am.
Yeah. If you're trying to teach the whole time, that'll burn you out.
Completely. And it was great because I invited my friend Vicky Noble, who I introduced to you, and a few others, you know, along with me, and it was fabulous. It was really fabulous online. So it was a great program, and the sorority, the sisterhood, and the enthusiasm and the vision of everyone is really high. So it was successful, but I'm pooped.
How can we help you, love?
Well, I don't know. I was, I guess I just wanted to share and make myself present.
Oh, I'm so glad you did.
Since I've been so absent, I guess, I don't know. I guess
I'll just say that when you do a client event, whether they're halfway through the program or 2/3 of the way through, you always want to be thinking about what do they need next, right? So when our women come to their retreats, they might hear about some of our women jump into our Elevate program because some of our women want more help with their story and their offer. So you've seen Serena and I make an offer for our 2-day training to help you build out your offer and your story. You may come to an event and we may be saying, hey, we're going to invite you to start considering whether you want to stay and leverage another year. And here's what's going to be different next year. And, here's why we think it may be a good thing to be orienting toward, being with us a couple of years rather than just one. It takes time to build out a business. And now you have this incredible community around you, right? So I just want to encourage you guys when you're doing your client events to also be thinking about what might you want to offer at your client events. You could offer VIP days. We've had some of you, let's see, our client Tracy from last year did this really well. She didn't really want to do a 2nd-year program, but she decided to offer VIP days. So she sold 4 or 5 $5,000 VIP days at her client event, right? So there's always ways to give clients an opportunity just to even get more support from you for the ones that might be interested in more. So Virginia, those are 2 things you could do next time you offer this event. You can do more integration exercises, and you could also be a little bit more specific about the offer. It sounds like you made an offer, but it was a little bit maybe
vague.
not.
Yeah, vague and not that ready. Yeah. Another thing that I'm really working on is team. I'm really working on that, and I had some support, but I was still a few holes in there.
Yeah.
And also the fact that I built a cabin and everything. So I was in different modes, working on different roles at the same time.
Yes, absolutely. 100%. Yeah. I want to work on getting a little bit, we'll get a little bit more information to you guys on the Q&A call around team at events so that you can just have a little bit more. And for now, just make sure that when you guys are in that like 2 or 3 week window before an event, that you're sitting down with at least 1 or 2 people who are completely committed to being at the event, and that you just start passing stuff off. You're just passing stuff off to them, and you let them know. Always let them know, look, when it's about 5 days before the event, or in that sort of final week before my event, I'm not going to be able to think straight. I'm going to be focusing completely on what I'm going to say on stage and how to best take care of the participants. And so, we need to get everything over onto your plate, at least 7 days before the event date, so that you can literally just completely take responsibility for handouts and registration and all of the participant lists and all of the correspondence with the venue, and just prep your team for the fact that in that window of days before the event, your brain's kind of mushy. You don't want to have to sit down and explain to your team what to do the day before the event, because there's going to be so many other nerves and emotions playing. So yeah, to just really set yourself up. But Virginia, what I love about you is that you're always willing to just get in the ring and play the game, no matter what. And I acknowledge you for that. And I would say bring more of those questions about team to the Q&A call when we have just a little bit more time to go into that.
I will do so. Thank you so much.
Let's give you a kiss for another successful event. The pictures looked amazing on Facebook.
Thank you.
What about you, Yamaya?
And well, I just want to circle back to Stacy for a moment, and then we'll hop over to Yamaya. But I don't know if your audio is still, let's just try you. Nope, not working. Okay, so Stacy pinged me her question, and it just relates back to what she posted on Facebook, which is, I have so many windows open. The pros and cons of doing the fundraiser, Sage, for a nonprofit to give back to.
Yes, I'm so glad you asked that. Yeah. Okay, so again, I don't think there's any con. I'm like all pro when it comes to doing, I think it's all pros when it comes to doing a fundraiser. We've always made more money when we do the fundraiser. We've always also been able to invite more clients into our training programs when we do a fundraiser, because it warms people up to pulling out their credit card and investing in something. People get to feel like a part of things. The only con that I can think of is that you have to spend a little bit of time setting it up. You can't just throw somebody on stage and have them do a fundraiser without the context and the planning that goes in. So the one reason not to do it would be that it's your first event. I didn't do a fundraiser at my very first event. It was too overwhelming. What I did instead is I said, for any of you that jump into our year-long program, by the way, we're going to be making a donation to Kiva. So some woman in a third world country is going to get a micro loan because of you. And then I showed a few pictures of women who are starting farming businesses or, you know, doing amazing things for their family in Ghana or Uganda, women that I had sponsored in the past. And I just kind of did it on my own, and I did it as part of the offer. You know, just by the way, I did it on day 3 in the morning. By the way, for those of you that jump in, we're doing this other really cool thing. I also want to show you guys where that information is. If you go into the event trainings area of your library and underneath offers, you'll see there's a lot of great support here for your offers. This Give to Grow section right here, how Sage and Vivian raised $75,000 for Uganda girls. Vivian and I basically did a little training where we just debriefed that whole thing. We talked about how we set it up. We talked about the importance of her story. We talk about where that fundraising section should go in relation to the whole rest of the event. And so you have all the nitty gritty right there for you. All right, kiss for Stacy Ellen. I mean, the other thing that I'll say is that my most successful fundraisers have also been successful because I partnered with people that were willing to help me promote the event. Vivian helped me promote the event in her newsletter for her. She has a wonderful organization of women leaders. So we had people coming to the event because they heard about it through Vivian. Lynn Twist helped me get the word out about my event. So partnering with philanthropic causes who can also help you get the word out is awesome. But I haven't always done that. We're doing a fundraiser this weekend in San Diego for pulling plastic out of the ocean. It's going to be a really powerful, powerful fundraiser. And I don't think they were able to do a lot of promoting for me because they're in such a different camp. But there's other ways that we're talking about supporting each other, and just the brand recognition of getting to partner with somebody, you know, somebody who has millions of views on their TEDx talk is really exciting too. Kiss for Stacy Ellen. Mwah. All right.
Yamaya, are you still here?
Here.
Oh, yay.
Aloha. Thank you. Super helpful, everything. Virginia was helpful as well because I'm looking at a live event in January with a group of my first cohort of my 7 months program, which started last month. Then my second cohort, which I will have started in October, and then the new people that I want to bring in. So they're all coming at a different level. And I think that's okay from what I understand. I mean, it's kind of your model. My quick question actually is more logistics about helping people with accommodations if they're coming from out of town. If you would
Yes. So a couple of things that you're going to want to be thinking about, you guys. You know, one of the morsels of wisdom that Megan Neely dropped on this call that you might have missed is she dropped a truth bomb that once you find a venue that you like, it's really nice to go back the following year. Because think of the work that goes into getting your participants all the information about the event and parking and what hotel rooms cost and what the food is going to be like. That's all a whole set of logistics that you hopefully have at least one assistant helping you with. Some of you are doing that on your own. Once you have that whole system dialed in, you can wash, rinse, and repeat next year. We always have an FAQ page, right? womenrockingbusiness.com/FAQ. And that way, anytime anybody emails in a question about the event, if the answer's on the FAQ page, all we have to do is say, here's the link to the FAQ page. It covers all of that so that my client care team doesn't have to be typing that out over and over and over again. What else? There was another part of your question.
Do you work, like maybe should I go and try to work a deal with a hotel in the...
Yes, yes. So the great thing about hiring, there are people out there who help you negotiate rates with hotels. And the great thing about working with somebody like that is they actually get paid from the hotel. You don't have to pay them. So I will also post, I've worked with a woman named Farah before. She's great. She negotiates hotel contracts all over the country in the United States. Her name's Farah, and she's very good. And so her job is to make sure that you get something fair, a fair contract, and that the hotel gets a fair contract. There's a lot to say about negotiating hotel contracts, but I'll tell you this much. You can negotiate stronger on weekdays versus weekends. Makes sense, right? Your event's on a Tuesday through Thursday. You can oftentimes get them to maybe cut a hotel room block by 30% on a Tuesday through Thursday, because hotel room blocks, like if you have to fill 12 rooms to be able to get into their conference room, you could probably get it down to 8 on a Tuesday through Thursday. There's a good chance you're not going to get it down on a weekend. Does that make sense?
Right.
There's actually a lot of information online about negotiating hotel contracts. You can read up on it. There's a whole legal implication for me personally, right? Like, I'm not a lawyer and I'm not a hotel contract negotiator, so there's only so much I can tell you. But I'll tell you that you don't want to take what they're offering you at face value. You definitely want to negotiate. Oftentimes, things that you can negotiate for are throw in a couple of staff rooms for free. That's oftentimes something they'll do. Throw in some staff rooms for free. They will oftentimes also negotiate free Wi-Fi for your conference room or for your participants as well. Free parking is really nice. And then if you do sign up for a block of rooms, like for us, when we get you guys, believe it or not, when you come to the Big Island, Mauna Kea Hotel Retreat Center, we do actually get you guys one of the best rate, pretty much the best rate they have. Like if you call separate on your own, it will be higher. And if it's not, please let me know. Believe it or not, even though it feels expensive, it is cheaper because we reserved a whole block. So you can get your participants more affordable rooms as well. Those are my quick tips.
And what about if it's in a smaller area and the hotel and the speaking space are separate?
What we do when we do Women Rocking Business Live at the Coconut Grove in Santa Cruz, it's not connected to a hotel.
Right.
We will oftentimes, because we know 100% we're sure there's going to be hundreds of people coming to this event. So we'll block off a few dozen hotel rooms just as a courtesy to our participants, because they get a little bit of a better rate, and they can also be rooming next door to other women at the conference. So it's more of a courtesy. We don't have to do it. So the other thing that you can do and that we recommend doing is if you can get a hotel conference room that's not attached to a hotel room block, it's perfect, because then you can just let people know it's their choice. They can stay at the event or they can stay in an Airbnb, their choice, right? So yeah, absolutely. Good question. Kiss for Yamaya. Mwah. All right, you guys, post the rest of your questions on Facebook, especially your burning ones. Save the ones that can be saved for a couple of weeks for the Q&A call, so we have more awesome content to get into. I have a couple more announcements, and that is that next month, you're going to be joined by a handful of new leverage clients, because we're going to be meeting women in San Diego that are the perfect fit for leverage. So from my heart to yours, I want to ask you to help us welcome those clients. One of the great things about seeing us onboard some clients, when many of you are several months into your program, some of you guys are almost a year into your program, some of you guys actually joined last fall. You joined Leverage last fall, so you're about to wrap up. One of the great things about watching us onboard new clients is that you get to see how we do that. You get to see how that works structurally, so that when you launch your year-long programs, right? How many of you want to launch year-long programs and have to start a whole nother program midstream? How many of you might like to set up your program so that halfway through your program, you could add more clients, right? Raise your hand if like that's something that you know would be convenient and financially sustainable to be able to keep taking great care of your clients, right? One of the reasons we were able to go, you know, we never were able to budget for more than 6 coaching sessions for clients in a year, because these programs are expensive to run. And one of the reasons that we've been able to budget that all you guys get 10 private coaching sessions throughout the year is because our programs have grown. So, you know, you get to take better care of your clients when you have more of them, because there's more revenue to take care of clients with. So I just want to tell you one of the other benefits of the fact that we have some new leverage clients coming in, and we're asking that you help us welcome those leverage clients. And that is that you are going to get a chance to also attend a VIP training on the 10 fastest ways to get new clients. So you might remember we did that training last May. It was about 4 or 5 hours. We got together for the day and we really laid down the 10 hottest ways to get new clients in the door. I've added a little bit of new content to that training. We're doing it again for our new clients. Save the date. We're doing it September 20th from 11 a.m. until 3:30 p.m. I believe it starts at 11 a.m. on Friday, September 20th. It's going to be a great chance to spend the day with your fellow leverage and ELA clients, just reviewing the basics. You can never hear the basics too many times. And again, the reason why we're doing that is for our new clients, so you can thank them for the opportunity to jump back into another live day-long training. And some of them will be joining us in November in the Big Island as well. And you'll see them popping on the Facebook group in a few weeks. And please just welcome them when you see them introducing themselves. Help me give them a warm welcome. And as you do that, you'll also be creating great karma for your own programs and your own communities to create the same for clients that are coming in midstream for you. Megan, am I missing any announcements? I think that's the bulk of it.
I think that's everything that I see.
Oh yeah, don't forget to let Sylvia know if you guys want to staff either October event or November event. Staffing it's gold. It is gold for you to emotionally prepare and logistically prepare for your own events.
Yeah, no question. I would just add to that, like if you're having an event, there's no question about if you should staff. It's just choosing the event you staff.
Yeah, you got to staff. There's so much value, so much learning. All right, who wants to wrap us up and take us home with what's your biggest takeaway? What's the biggest thing you are taking away from this call?
Kia?
I actually have a quick question and then my takeaway. Did you mention at the beginning that Sylvia was going to be looking into more room blocks? Speaking of room blocks.
Yes, we'll have Sylvia post a post for you guys in Leverage, but we are for sure going to get you guys more rooms at the Mauna Kea so that you can book this week. And do book your rooms at Mauna Kea and grab a few roommates and pile in, because it is the most incredible experience to get to be right on the beach at that luxurious hotel. And we have had some questions. Can you stay off site? The answer is yes. The Mauna Kea is set up so that you can stay off site, although staying on site is pretty luxurious to not have to get back in the car and to be able to get in and out of that ocean a couple times a day.
One of the only white sand beaches on the Big Island, and just where you'll want to spend every morning.
All right, what's the biggest thing you're taking away from today? Who's getting more excited about your event? Who feels a little more prepared? What's the biggest takeaway? What are you going to do now that you weren't planning on doing before? Rachel?
I'm going to do much more integration.
Yes.
I've been doing experiences, but I got to get more integration and connection with the participants, not just the big group.
I love it. Kiss for Rachel.
Thank you.
Mwah. What else are you guys going to do that you weren't going to do before? Elizabeth Beads.
I'm going to keep passing off all the tasks and taking care of me because my event is in 3 weeks.
Yes! We are holding space for another amazing event for you. Kiss for Elizabeth. Mwah. Who else has something you're going to do that you weren't going to do before? Come on, don't be shy.
Kia?
I'm diving into meetups. I never went into them because where I go is 4 hours away from my house. But I'm like, you know what? That's a really stupid excuse now. So I'm going to dive into them anyhow.
Oh, yeah. All right, ladies, get out your calendars. Look at when your event is scheduled for and put 2 or 3 of those little feeder events on the books. Those feeder events are keys, meetups, little 2-hour trainings. Pick a super hot topic and get yourself out there. Get yourself supported. Text a buddy right now and set up a phone call for next week so you have time to land with somebody and really integrate some of what you're learning and make some commitments. And we'll be back in 2 weeks to do more live event Q&A. I also have a challenge where I'm going to be laying out some incentives for you guys to hit your first $5,000 earning month if you haven't ever hit 5,000 before, your first 10,000 earning month if you haven't ever hit 10,000 before, and your first 6 figures. Some of you guys are there, some of you are not. So we're going to be running some little contests before Hawaii. And incentivizing you guys to really go for those financial goals that are going to set you up for financial sustainability. And Marcella, keep rocking your follow-up. The fortune's in the follow-up. All right, you guys, we love you. Let us know what you need on Facebook. Looking forward to being back with you in a couple weeks. Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye. Love you.
Thank you.
Bye.
You're welcome.